Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what has to be the most fascinating, complex, and honestly awe-inspiring structure in the known universe. And the coolest part, it's the exact same organ that's letting you process my words right now, the human brain.
Think about it. It's your ultimate command center, running the show 24/7. It's handling your heartbeat, your breathing, letting you walk, talk, and even conjure up your wildest dreams, all without you having to consciously think about it for a single second. But how does this complex control center actually pull it all off? Well, let's get into it.
Section 1. The Ultimate Control Center. Let's take a look inside the 24/7 supercomputer. The raw numbers behind the brain are just mind-blowing. Literally. It weighs about 1.4 kilograms, that's roughly 3 pounds, and it's incredibly soft, almost like jelly. It's actually made up of 60% fat and 75% water. But here's the truly wild part. It only takes up about 2% of your overall body weight, yet it's such a massive resource hog that it demands an astonishing 30% of your blood supply just to keep the lights on.
Now, looking at the macro level, your brain is divided into 4 main regions working in absolute perfect harmony. You've got the massive cerebrum handling the heavy lifting, things like learning and reasoning. Tucked just below that is the cerebellum, which keeps you balanced. Then there's the brainstem, anchoring the whole operation and running vital involuntary stuff like your breathing. And right at the core is the diencephalon, which governs your deepest survival instincts and sensations.
If we zoom in on that massive cerebrum, it's actually split right down the middle into your left and right hemispheres. And they're constantly chatting back and forth across a thick band of fibers known as the corpus callosum. These halves are broken down even further into highly specialized lobes. You have your frontal lobe, right behind your forehead, acting as the executive decision maker. Then there's the parietal lobe handling touch, the temporal lobes near your ears for hearing and language, and finally the occipital lobe all the way at the back, entirely dedicated to processing what you see.
Now, here is a crucial point that might actually surprise you. While it absolutely feels like this biological supercomputer can do a million things at once, it really can't multitask. Trying to split its attention across multiple conscious tasks at the same time, that only divides your focus, slows down your learning, and tanks your overall efficiency. It's just so much happier doing one complex thing at a time.
Moving on to Section 2, neurons, the brain's network. Let's map out the cellular communication highway.
Deep inside your brain houses a staggering 86 billion tiny nerve cells called neurons. Just let that number sink in for a second. 86 billion. Together, they wire up this massive, high-speed communication network, constantly firing electrical and chemical signals all over your body.
And here's exactly how that rapid-fire communication actually happens. An electrical signal shoots down the neuron's long, wire-like structure, which is called an axon. Once it hits the end, it drops chemical messengers, neurotransmitters, across a microscopic gap called a synapse to trigger the very next cell. And this crazy complex chain reaction happens in literally a fraction of a second. It's why I say you accidentally touch a hot stove, you yank your hand away instantly, way before you even consciously realize it's hot.
But neurons aren't doing all this heavy lifting alone. Working right alongside them are an equal number of glial cells. You can think of them as the network's maintenance crew. They support the infrastructure, clean up the environment, and enable something called brain plasticity. That's the dynamic rewiring happening throughout your entire life, making your brain smarter and way more efficient the more you learn, practice, and experience the world.
Which brings us to Section 3, Memories and Dream Worlds, storing the past and exploring the subconscious.
So how does the brain store all this information? Well, short-term memory grabs onto fleeting info for just a few seconds before letting it go. But deeply emotional, highly significant, or repeated experiences, those get locked in permanently to your long-term memory. And here's a really fascinating takeaway. Occasionally forgetting things isn't a glitch in the system. It's actually a perfectly healthy, absolutely necessary way your brain manages storage space and clears out the junk data.
Now, what about when you finally go to sleep? Well, the brain never truly powers down. Different regions suddenly spark to life to create your dreams. And while the exact why behind dreaming is still a bit of a scientific mystery, researchers believe this active sleep state is super important. It helps the mind organize all those newly formed memories, process the complex emotions of the day, and keeps that intricate neural network primed and healthy. Next up, Section 4, the science of emotions. Let's look at feelings, fear, and survival.
Those powerful emotions you feel, whether you're awake or sorting through them in a dream, are entirely orchestrated deep within structures like the amygdala and the limbic system. Take a highly specific emotion, like fear. When you face danger, let's say you hear a sudden massive crash, your brain triggers an instant primal survival response. Before you can even rationally process what that sound was, your heart is racing to pump blood, your muscles are completely tense and ready for action, and your focus just sharply narrows in.
What's incredibly cool here is realizing that fear isn't actually a bad thing. This brilliant biological mechanism evolved thousands of years ago to protect us in harsh natural environments. It's really just your brain's fiercely loyal, totally automatic way of doing everything in its power to keep you alive.
That leads us to Section 5, the brain on social media. What happens to this ancient hardware in a modern world?
To really understand this clash, we have to talk about dopamine. It's a chemical neurotransmitter that basically acts as your brain's ultimate reward center. Every single time you get a like, a new message, or a notification ping on your phone, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. That creates a powerful, instantaneous feeling of pleasure and accomplishment.
And this right here is the modern dilemma. Social media platforms are deliberately designed to exploit this exact dopamine cycle. They use bright, high-contrast colors, fast-paced, endless video loops, and totally unpredictable notifications to hook your brain's attention. They're built to keep you scrolling endlessly, just waiting for that next chemical reward.
But the crucial takeaway isn't that modern technology is inherently evil. It's that understanding this chemical reaction is incredibly empowering. Once you know how it works, you can navigate the digital world so much more mindfully. It helps you protect your brain's delicate focus and stops your ancient survival hardware from getting hijacked by modern software.
Finally, Section 6, Conclusion, the universe inside you. As we wrap up this explainer, it's just so clear how magnificent this organ really is. Despite all our scientific breakthroughs, the human brain is still one of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring structures in the known universe. Everything you see, everything you feel, remember, and imagine, it all starts right there, inside your own head. The reality you experience is being constructed by those very neurons. And as you learn more about how it all works, you are quite literally unlocking the deepest truths about who you are.
So, I want to leave you with this one thought. The next time you feel a sudden spark of imagination, a wave of emotion, or even when you just simply move your hand, take a second to appreciate that incredible network firing away in your skull. And ask yourself, what are your 86 billion neurons going to create next?